This has its own magic.
What's up, everybody? It's Coach Kev. Caitlin Clark is the talk of the town. She has brought more viewership, more eyes to the game of women's basketball, the WNBA. People are saying that the WNBA players are jealous of her, are hating on her, going out of their way to be physical, push her, bump her around, and show her that she shouldn't be the only one that's talked about when it comes to women's professional basketball. Others are saying this is the rite of passage. When you're a rookie coming into a professional setting, this is what you have to go through to become the player that you want to become. Here's Michael Wilbon, Tony Kornheiser talking about this entire Caitlin Clark situation. Is this a rite of passage? Are the WNBA players doing too much? Or is this exactly what you have to go through when you are a generational talent such as Caitlin Clark? Let's discuss.
Let's move, though. Let's go to Caitlin Clark. She played 2 games over the weekend. In a win over Chicago, she got simply shoved to the ground off the ball. The foul was upgraded later to a flagrant 1. Yesterday, Clark made only 1 shot, scored only 3 points as New York beat Indiana by 36 points. Wilbon, where do you want to start?
You know, Tony, I don't want to start with a game, a specific game or a specific number of points. Oh, just 3 points. I don't. Because the discussion about Caitlin Clark needs to be much larger than that. And it needs to be much more nuanced. And it needs to be honest. And it's not honest. It just isn't. You have people with all kinds of agendas and people are afraid. And on your podcast this morning, I talked about how angry I am about national media, which only wants to write about analytics and doesn't want to get into substantive things that are sensitive, that might be the third rail. Everyone's afraid to touch. We're not going to be afraid here. The discussion about Caitlin Clark has to deal with, and I mean initially and loudly, race and culture in America. That's part of this. And basketball is the place, Tony, where it's more often discussed historically. Yes, it started maybe with Jackie Robinson and with certain prize fighters, Jack Johnson, but it's been a basketball discussion.
So race, that's the big issue. I feel like the racial undertone plays a huge part when we're discussing Caitlin Clark. She's the white side, the black side. She's the golden child. The black women feel like they have been shunned, haven't been given the opportunity that she has been given, and she hasn't really done anything in a professional setting yet. So I can understand it from both sides, but it's definitely race. You definitely get race. And people who say that race has nothing, there's no racial tension, no racial, it will never go away. So when you have this white female player getting all the endorsements, all the looks, everything that she's getting, and I'm not saying she doesn't deserve it, but she is getting that. And the black female players who've been doing it from the beginning, trying to become what they want to become and being great at what they do when it comes to basketball, not getting the opportunities that she's getting, then you have the clash and you have this issue.
It's about Larry Bird and Magic Johnson and the sort of enemies they were before they became deep and abiding their friendship. But I mean, I remember with Spike Lee, an important part of his movie making dealt with Bird and dealt with a white star basketball player in America, because there ain't one on the male side. It's Caitlin Clark. And it's okay for people to admit that they identify with some. I identify with people, maybe part of why I identify with Edmonton or people like Evander Kane and Darnell Nurse, who are people of color. And so it's okay to identify that. You're not going to find that white American star in men's basketball. Caitlin Clark is that. And she brings people into the tent because she's great and she's unique. In this case, she's white in a sport of black people. That's part of the deal.
100%. That's the point. 100%. Coming in, getting everything that they feel like they deserve as well, and being talked about more than they're being talked about, I would feel some type of way. So maybe jealousy and hate are too strong of words, but to feel some type of way and feel like, nah, I've been here, I can do this too, I can do this as good as you and even better than you, and I'm going to show you and I'm going to prove it to you. I deserve everything that you're getting as well. I'm not mad at that attitude, but like I said, there's going to be a clash between this person over here is bringing this type of looks. You haven't been bringing this type of looks, so we're going to give them more than you deserve, and we're going to figure out going forward who deserves what.
Deal.
No
A big
argument
part,
on any of that.
elephant in the room.
No. So here's the thing. I've watched, I think, part of or all of almost every game she has played in the WNBA. I watched both games over the weekend. She is being deliberately hit, and let me stress, deliberately. It's a little bit more dangerous, a little bit more sinister than just a hard welcome to a new league. It appears that the intent sometimes is to injure her. And
so that's another point. So now it looks like when you see some of the videos of Caitlin getting hit with screens, she got cheap shotted the other day as well. It does look like these women are going out of their way to give a little extra oomph, a little extra push, a little extra physicality when it comes towards her. Now, like I said, maybe jealousy and hate are too strong of words, but it does seem like Tony said they're going out their way to show her that, nah, you're not the only one in this league, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to knock you around and show you that this is another level of physicality that you're going to have to deal with to survive in the WNBA.
particularly disconcerting is when somebody who knocks her down is welcomed back by her teammates saying, yeah, congratulated, basically. It leads to two conclusions, Mike. One is the Indiana teammates, when are they going to stand up for Caitlin Clark? Because they have not done that yet. When are they going to do that? Or else they're saying to Caitlin Clark, we don't have your back. And if they don't have her back physically, why is she playing on that team? And two, is there a living, breathing commissioner in the WNBA? Because if there is, that person has to say to all the players in the WNBA and all the coaches in the WNBA, hey, we're not going to have this anymore. We're going to make sure you understand these fouls are flagrant fouls. They're going to lead to ejection. If they happen more than once, they're going to lead to suspension. This season cannot be the hazing of Caitlin Clark. And Mike, you and I both talked about this at length, and we understand why there's a lot of resentment of Caitlin Clark and how famous she is and how popular she is and how much money she makes off the court. Because everybody in the league wants that. Raise your hand. Everybody in the league wants that. But people in the league have to realize also that the eyeballs are on the league right now because of Caitlin Clark. So you can beat her in a game because you know what? She's not great now. She is not great now. You can tie her up in the game. That's why you just can't try to hurt her.
But Tony, Tony, you're not going to.
Beautiful point. Beautiful point. I can't have said it any better. It seems like and the great point about the teammates, nobody really helps her up. Her teammates don't, as an enforcer, like if that's my teammate and she's got knocked down like that, you're going to run up or walk up on the other player who did it and be like, yo, chill out, relax, whatever you got to say, whatever language you want to use. But you got to let them know that what you're doing is not going to be tolerated from us as a team. We haven't seen that with Caitlin Clark. I don't know what's going on. Like Tony just said, is hazing, but it's getting out of hand. And it's going to get to the point where something's going to happen. She's going to get hurt. There's going to be a big brawl, a fight, something. If this is not stopped and nipped in the bud, it's going to get out of control and get out of hand. I trust and believe.
Legislate this. It's never legislated. That resentment that you described is what we have to get at. And people don't want to get at it, or they get at it clumsily, or they're not sophisticated enough to understand the resentment, why it's there, and how it's going to have to play out. Tony is going to have to play out on the court. There's no commissioner who's going to legislate that, the hard fouls, and if there is resentment and over what, there's going to have to be discussion. And there's not honest, candid discussion. So you know what?
Not yet.
We're going to have this. And I'm not for flagrant foul, okay, you can call that. That's taken care of on the court. And her teammates, I hear you on all that. But guess what? I told you when this was going on in Iowa, I was not the real basketball world. I lived next door all my life. I grew up there in Illinois. Now Caitlin Clark's in the real basketball world, just like Larry Bird was in it. And he had to navigate it. And it took like much of his career. And then it went away, didn't it? Because of what happened on the court organically.
Well,
Caitlin Clark will have to get to that point, Tone.
There's a substantial difference.
What?
Larry Bird and Magic Johnson came into this league and immediately were great players.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
She is not immediately a great player. There is a difference.
Okay, not yet. Not yet.
Great points by both of them. So for you guys in the comments below, let me know what you think. Which side of the fence do you fall on? Do you believe that Caitlin Clark is being hated on, for lack of a better term, whatever term you want to use, jealousy, they're just going out their way doing too much when it comes to Caitlin Clark? Or do you feel like this is just a normal part of what a rookie has to go through, especially a rookie who has all eyes on her, being probably most likely the next face of the league? This is what they have to go through when they make it into the professional leagues. Jealousy, hate, those might be strong words like I said. There's definitely racial undertone when it comes to this. The teammates not backing her up. The WNBA, there are women that I feel like are going out of their way to try to be extra physical with Caitlin. I'm pretty sure that they feel some type of way. She's bringing this new viewership, this new eyes, everything on the WNBA. So they're feeling like, why haven't we been talking about when we've been here for so long? But you can't be mad at what she's doing when she's ultimately helping the league. She's helping the WNBA grow, get better, and become the league that all these women want it to become. Yes, they say when she's in the game, she talks trash. But if you're a high-level player, anybody who's played a sport, you know you talk trash when you're in the confines, when you're playing against great players. That's how you do. Some people use it as motivation. That's how they get themselves going. That's how they get themselves to the level they want to play at. So that shit comes with the territory of sports. I feel like Caitlin Clark is what the WNBA needed, is what women's basketball needed. Now they're being talked about. This is what they wanted, all eyes. Now they wanted the discussion to be about them, but now they want to change the discussion to not talk about this part of it, talk about that part. But you can't have it both ways. If you want eyes on you, now everybody's going to talk about you. Everybody has a difference of opinion. They're not all going to speak the same when it comes to the WNBA and when it comes to women's basketball. When it comes to Caitlin Clark, it's looking pretty nasty, and we got to stop this. Y'all got to stop this and show everybody why the women's game is such a beautiful game of basketball to watch. Till next time, this is Coach Kev, and I'm out of here.